Okay, let's give you guys some more practice. So get yourself a graph plotter and plot this graph here. It should then look something like this here. And when you're looking at an implicit equation, always think of it in terms of where it makes sense. So, for example, if you look at this point here, you see if you look at what this is your x, this is your y. If you put it, or if you put your if you put the 2 into the x here, and if you put 1 into your y here, this side here will equal this side here. So when you think of an implicit equation, it's really, you see, this point here makes sense because this side here will equal this side here. And then if you look at this point here, it makes sense here because you've got this side will equal this side. So when given an implicit equation, think of where on the graph it makes sense. You see this point here, it makes sense because this side here will equal this side here. And then if you look at this graph, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there is a red line going along here. Okay, and along here it does make sense because if you put, let's say this here, x is 2 and y is 0. So if you put 0 into the y here, this whole thing here would be 0. If you put 0 into here, then this whole thing here would be 0. And then if you put 0 into the y here, this thing here would be 0. So you see along here, you see when given an implicit equation, think in terms of where on the graph it makes sense. You see, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense, and it makes sense all along here because at any point along here, if you put in here, this side will equal this side. Well, anyway, when you get a graph plotter, it will give you this graph here. Well, the question here is, your job is to draw the tangent line that goes through this point here, 2, 1. Okay, so when you draw a tangent line, maybe it looks something like this. I don't know. But come up with the equation for this tangent line and then draw it on the graph. Okay, so press pause and have a go. Okay, so to find out the equation for this tangent line, you will need to know the gradient at this point here. So starting with your equation here, so this is the equation here. Okay, so basically you need to differentiate this. Instead of using the quotient rule here, rewrite this as this: y and then times x to the power of minus 1. So rewrite this as this. So now we can use the product rule as opposed to the quotient rule. Okay, and for some reason I just like to switch these two around. You don't have to, but I don't know. I just like to switch these two around. So now looking at this, you've got one bubble here multiplying another bubble here because y is a function of x. You will need to use the product rule here. And then here you've got this thing and this thing here. Again, you will need to use the product rule here. This one times this one, here you would need to use a product rule, where this here is u and this here is v. Okay, so from here, using the product rule, remember the product rule here, it will be differentiate this and keep this the same. So differentiate this here will give you this. Okay, hang on. So remember this thing, well, differentiate this and keep the y the same. That would then give you this. Okay, and then keep this the same, and then differentiate the y. Keep this the same. That's this being the same, and then differentiate the y. When you this here is just one y. When you differentiate the y, it will just give you 1. So 1, and then because 1, and then because it's a y, you got to times dy by dx. So this whole bit here will become this here. Okay, and when you differentiate this here, again, it's the product rule here. This thing here will then give you this whole thing here. Okay, and then differentiate this. Again, you would need the product rule here. So that would then give you this. Okay, and then it's just a matter of tidying up. So merge. Hang on. Oh yeah, and then your aim is to get dy by dx on its own. So group all the dy's by dx onto one side. So here, look, visualize it as this. You've got one block here and one block here, plus this block here, and then this block here. And then on the other side, remember all this is on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side you've got this block plus this block. Let's move all the dy by dx to the left and all the rubbish on the right hand side. So this one here we're going to move it to the other side. This one here move it to the other side, and then this one here we're going to move it to the left hand side. Okay, so this will then actually give you this. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, it will then give you this here. Okay, so from here, so here you've got one block, and then this block, and then this block here. Factor out the dy by dx here. Factor the whole thing out, so that will then give you this. Okay, and now you've got one thing, and then well divide both sides by this thing here, so that will then give you dy by dx equals this. So now you've got your dy by dx equals this here. So now it's now you've got your dy by dx. So at this point here, you know it's going to be 2, 1. So put this in. So remember, this is your x here. Put it into the x here. Put this into the x here, and then into here. And this is your y. Put it into the y here. Put it into the y. Well, wherever. Yeah, put everything in there. So dy by dx. This is what we've got so far. Okay. Now at that point, it's just me repeating myself now. So at this point here, at the point 2, 1, you put it into here. You put it blah 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 here. You put it into this equation here. It will then give you this. So dy by dx at that point will be this here. Tidy it up, and then the gradient will be a quarter. So the gradient is a quarter, and if you want to know the equation of a straight line, it's y equals mx plus c. We know this gradient. We know it crosses at 2, 1. So we can put in all these values here to work out c. So blah blah blah, c equals a half. So now we've got the equation of the whole tangent line here. Okay, that's the equation of the tangent line. So if you were to plot it on a graph plotter, if you plot a graph of y equals a quarter, blah 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 here, it will give you this. Look at this. This is the point at which we were talking about, and the equation of the straight line is given by this here. Okay, so this is your answer here.